welcome to Tiny Gwen Miniatures. My name is Rachel. This week I am recording this after I have done most of the work. I'm not quite finished, but I've been making these tiny flowers, hoping you can see. Tiny primroses. I've done primroses, I've done ferns. They're pretty much all in the boxes now. I've got one left to do, which I'm going to be filming to show you. And yeah, I'm hopefully next week I'm going to do some tulips because I'm a complete masochist. And it's been the fiddliest job, but it's worked out okay. It's worked out really well in the end. So I'm going to be taking you through the process, pretty much everything I did from scratch, from the drawing to actually planting these up with some soil which I've made from tea leaves. Anyway, I'll see you in a bit. Hope you enjoy it. So this is the sheet with the drawings that I've done. I've scanned them and then I printed out this whole sheet just to make it easier. I've got the fern leaves, the primrose leaves, the flowers, the rabbits. I'm going to make this available on the Etsy shop for a very minimal price, just to cover my time and my energy and my pen ink. So £1 really would be for these. You're going to also need your acrylic pens or your paints, whatever you're using, a pointy tool, an awl or a kebab stick to make the holes in the centre of the flowers, through which you will be putting your wire. This is florist wire. I did check the packet to see if I could find out the actual thickness of this, but there isn't a measurement on the packet, but it looks about 1.5 millimeters. But really you're going to need this to be the right size for your seed beads. I get very confused with gauging the size of seed beads, and they seem to have some numerical measurement system that I don't understand. So if anybody can clarify me on that, that would be great. But basically your florist wire needs to be able to fit inside your seed bead, which is going to form the centre of the flower. It'll all become clear, I promise. What else do you need? Oh, glue. I've got Gorilla Glue, which takes a long time to dry, unfortunately, but it's pretty strong. If you've got a faster drying glue, all the better. Sorry, there's my dog running around outside. You can hear him chasing the pigeons. I've got a Jack Cheese. She's part Chihuahua, part Jack Russell, and she's a little feisty. Poor pigeons. Anyway, so you're going to be needing some foil for putting your pieces on while they're drying, while the glue's drying, so we don't want it sticking to things. Right, so I'm going to get on with colouring. I shall come back to you. Now once this is dry, for the ferns, I'm just going to be where the lines are, where you can, if you can just faintly see there, where the lines are. I'm just going to be adding, I've got a fine tip, kind of a greeny mustardy colour. You can use a light green or whatever you like, but just something a little bit lighter than the colour you've used, or even you could go darker, just as long as it's got a contrast. And then along, I'm going to just draw in as thin as I can the stem that goes through the centre for each one. Got about, I think it's about 10 leaves I'm doing here for the fern. So the fern is the pointy ones. Sorry if it sounds a bit obvious, but there are people that won't know, I'm sure. The ferns are the pointy ones, and the primroses are the more blunt-ended leaves. And then for the, so it's got stems in, for the the veins, I'm just going to be doing little dots just to emulate the tiny leaves of the ferns. I'm not going for botanical accuracy here. I just want to give the impression of smaller leaves coming out here. And if you wanted to make it more accurate botanically, then you know, that's entirely up to you. I wanted something that looked a bit more stylized, more of a design really. Anyway, I'll carry on with that and show you what There we go. So now I have to cut them all out and then colour the other sides. I'm just using some small, sharp, pointy scissors. So I'm going to carefully cut around them. And also the flowers. I'm going to try and get rid of as much of the black as possible without losing the shape. Well, that was a labour of love. It's quite fiddly, but it's worth doing. So the flowers are all cut out and all the leaves. I'm doing 9 leaves for the fern. I've got 6 leaves for the primrose and 5 flowers. Now I need to turn them over and colour the other sides. If you feel that you want to draw in the veins on the other side, then please go ahead. I should be probably not doing that with the primroses because you're not really going to see, because they're quite low to the ground as they grow, you're not really going to see the backs. But the ferns, I am going to do the same design on the back, and also with the primroses I'm going to be putting the little bit of green centre. So I should do that and I should come back. And here we are, the tiniest flowers you ever saw. Or maybe not if you're working in a 24th scale or a 1/44th scale, but to me this is pretty tiny. I haven't worked anything smaller than 12 scale. So we're going to need to attach the wires now. So I'm cutting my wires so that there's a stem of about 2.5 centimetres below. So for the flowers I want about, another tip, when you're cutting your wire, point it downwards, because very often the wire will just shoot across the room and you'll never see it again. So I'm going to cut 5 for the flower stems. It's about 2.5 centimetres. I'm just gauging it by, oh, you see, they're lively little critters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then similarly oh my goodness, where did that go? No, you see, once it's gone, oh, there it is. I don't know what it is. If I drop something, it'll land like right by my feet, and then I look down and then it's not there. Things just vanish. So I need 6 of these. 1, 2, 3. You can always trim these down again after, but it is much easier to do it the right size. Excuse me, the right size before you start. For the ferns, I need 9. I need these slightly longer because they're going to be, whereas the primroses are quite close to the ground, they're little plants. The ferns are kind of going to be growing up and curling, and I want to be able to take the sorry, I don't know what's going on with my voice. I think it must be pollen or something. I want to take the wire as close to the end as I can without it showing. So I'm going to need quite a long stem. So I'm going to go a couple of inches there. So 9 of those. So I'll carry on with that. Right, here's the messy bit. And I do apologise for for the strange grunting noises that you might be able to hear in the background. It's actually my husband is doing weightlifting in the garden. So I have the dog barking and my husband grunting in the garden. It all happens around here, especially when I'm trying to film. So please ignore it. Right, so we're going to be adding the seed bead to the end. It's difficult to show you because they're so tiny. Seed bead to the end of the wire with a little dab of glue. I'm going to be doing that for the 5 for the flower stems. Once those are pretty much dry, add a little bit more glue. You can see. Add a little bit more glue to the bottom. And then we're going to be threading the flower. Ow. Yeah, it's sharp, be careful. Threading the flower right up to the bead. You've got a little bit too much glue on there, just get a stick and wipe a bit away. Just shake these petals. Shake these petals a bit and then put that on your tin foil to dry. So do the same with all of them. So here we go. Little tiny primrose. So we're going to attach the wire to the leaves. So just hold the leaves in place. So this is going on the back of the leaves. So you want them wrong side down. So a nice bit of glue and then place your wire. This is fiddly, you might need tweezers. Place your wire so that the point of the leaves is level with the wire. And take it nearly to the edge of the leaf. So do that for all of them and then you leave them to dry. While the leaves are drying, I'm just colouring in the rabbits. Nearly there. These are ready to be stuck on the board on this thinnish cardboard. I'm going to be using a bit of PVA. Don't need quite that much. Taking a little bit off. Got it carried away with my glue. So a nice even coat. Nice flat ride brush is the best thing for doing glue. And then make sure all these bunnies are nicely flattened down on the glue so there's no gaps. And then leave that to dry. So the stems are now dry and attached to the leaves. Just make sure that they're touching all the way across the paper. It's I think that's probably, for me, it's the hardest part is getting the wire there. So I've had to put on a couple of other little blobs just where the stem wasn't quite touching. Glue was a little bit thicker on that one, so it's still a tiny bit wet. So I just want to show you anyway. Just need to curl these. Be very, very careful at the ends. You see, I've just nicked it slightly. Doesn't matter too much if it's not too bad, because you're going to get tears in leaves anyway in nature, so but you don't want it too bad. And then just do the same to each one. For the smaller ones, I tend to try to curl them a little bit more, as if they're fresh leaves coming up. So you can curl these in. You can add a little bit more glue if necessary. So I'm going to do that to each one until I've got a complete plant. Right, so the little rabbits, these just need cutting out. I've done one already. I just wanted to test it out off camera in case it all went wrong. So basically I've cut it out, and then I've glued the two pieces together, and I've put a 1, 2, 3 block on just to keep it nice and flat. My cardboard was shiny on one side, which wasn't the best. In hindsight, it would have been better to have kind of a matte finish on each side. So yeah, just be careful with that. It has stuck okay. What I'm going to do now, because obviously when I've cut it out it's not exact, I'm going to trim round it, and then I'm going to go around the edge with my white marker, just to make it nice and neat. If you want to, you can put a piece of florist wire up between the two if you wanted it on a kind of stick to go into the ground, but because mine has a piece of wood through the soil, I'll show you later, but I can't do that with this, so I'm going to prop him up at the back anyway. So I'm just trimming him so that both sides are the same. I sometimes wonder to myself that this is what I do for fun, and what a masochist miniaturists must be. Because it's so time consuming and fiddly, but it's just wonderful when you've made something that's so delightfully dinky and cute. I mean, who wouldn't want that? So I'm just going to go around the edge. I'm just going to get rid of this black line. If it was black line all the way around, I'd probably keep it, but as I've got a bit there and a bit here, I'm going to just get rid of it and then go around the card. Just to make that an even colour. Okay, and there he is done. Mr. Easter Bunny, all ready to go. Just going to quickly show you how I make the soil. This is old tea leaves from old tea bags that have been made in the pot, so not with milk. So just water, just when they've been brewed in water with no milk, and then open the bags up, let it all dry, make sure it dries thoroughly, otherwise it's going to go mouldy, and then put it in this pot. So I have this ready. You see, it already looks like soil. So I'll just put a handful in to a jar. And then you put a bit of PVA in. I actually got this from a chap called Rich from Rich Miniatures. I don't know if you've seen his channel. He's a lovely chap. Comes across as a really nice guy, and his partner John. So check out Rich Miniatures if you get a chance. So he makes some lovely things. And I stole this idea of the tea leaves, which I thought was brilliant. I think you can also use coffee granules, but I think these are probably a bit less messy with the tea because it's already been brewed, so there's not a lot of tannin leaking out everywhere. So basically you've made a gloopy PVA tea leaf gunk, and then I will show you. I'm just going to put this into the window boxes to cover the sill. Okay, so I've just put another layer of PVA glue on top, and inside I've put a bit of tin foil just to fill this up a bit. And then at the moment I only want a bit of this at the back. It's difficult to do. I need two hands really. But anyway, you get the gist. I'm going to do it and then show you. So here it is. I promise you, I promise you when it's dry, it looks like soil. And it's even messier than real gardening. I always getting a mess when I'm gardening. And this is just the same. I've got tea leaves everywhere, glue. I'm tempted to just clean that up properly. Just a second. So the soil is dry. It's actually rock hard now. And what I've done, I've obviously discarded the magnet idea as a bad idea. So what I decided to do is, I don't know if you can see from there, I've got 3 holes, a hole there, a hole there and a hole there. I've already put the ferns in there. The ferns are going to be static, so I'm gluing those in because they're all year round, evergreens. So that saves me a job every season. And then in the middle, I'm going to have a changeable display. So I'm putting the primrose in the middle and another fern in there. And the flowers, I've cut the stalks a bit shorter just to make it a bit easier. So that's the primroses in. With hindsight, I wish I'd made the hole a little bit bigger. So next time I will make a little bit more room because it was quite tough getting those in. I'm going to put the fern in. I'm going to put the fern in the other side here now. So that's the last window box all complete. I shall show you the others. There's the rabbit sitting there. I still need to decorate the shutters on the sides. I haven't done that yet, so still a few little jobs to do before the outside's complete, but at least I got the spring display done, so really pleased with that. Window box is all done. We've got yellow primroses and ferns and rabbits in this one, and here we have more yellow primroses and tiny Gwen with a tulip as my prototype tulip. I'm going to be making some of those next week, so that was my practice one. And I've got purple and orange primroses there, and then the ones I showed you earlier. There we go. Pink ones this side. At last, all finished. So I've just got the window shutters to do, as I mentioned before. The plants they did take a very long time, very long time. They were They were very fiddly, very small, and yeah, I did get in quite a lot of a mess. I can't actually believe how much mess I created in my workshop, making the tiniest plants in the world. It was chaos in here, but which I didn't show you, but maybe I will next time, because I do tend to spread out all my stuff when I'm working. But I know I've tied it up now, so it's looking it's looking a bit better in here. But anyway, thank you for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week I'm going to be doing tulips in pots, for the side of beside the door. Or did you notice the quartz crystals in the window boxes? Because Tiny Gwen is a witch, so she obviously has to have quartz crystals in the window box. I didn't mention it in the video, but I'm hoping it's going to be quite a magical journey for everybody. So I'll see you next week. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it, and see you soon. Bye for now.